In this section, we explore advanced cross-site scripting, XSS attacks, and their prevention mechanisms. XSS attacks allow malicious scripts to be injected into web pages, compromising the same origin policy and potentially taking control over user interactions. There are three primary types of XSS: reflected, stored, and DOM-based. Understanding these types and the implications of XSS is key to implementing effective security practices. Reflective XSS attacks occur when data from a current HTTP request is insecurely mirrored and vulnerable to script injection. This vulnerability is commonly found in URLs, posing a risk each time a user accesses a specially crafted link. For instance, a URL such as https://example.com user script alert that demonstrates how an attacker might insert a script directly into the URL. To stop reflective XSS attacks, it's essential to validate and sanitize all input data, ensuring that no unfriendly code can slip through. Additionally, by encoding the output, we can neutralize any potentially harmful scripts, rendering them harmless to the user. Stored XSS attacks involve injecting malicious scripts that are actually saved in a database or server-side storage. This contrasts with the previous reflection method, where attacks occur in real time via HTTP requests. When users access this stored data, the script is rendered as part of the HTML, affecting any user that loads this information. To prevent such attacks, it's critical to validate inputs thoroughly before they're stored. Additionally, employing output encoding when the data is retrieved ensures that scripts are neutralized, protecting users as they interact with the application. DOM-based XSS attacks are a distinctive type of cross-site scripting vulnerability. Unlike stored XSS, which leverages server-side storage to deliver malicious scripts upon data retrieval, DOM-based XSS centers around client-side script manipulation. Specifically, this attack occurs when scripts within the web page modify the document object model, or DOM, and potentially execute unsafe logic without appropriate validation or sanitization. An example might include JavaScript that dynamically changes content, like inner HTML, without scrutiny, thus opening a door for harmful inputs to take effect. Preventing DOM-based XSS attacks requires stringent secure coding practices in JavaScript. Developers should avoid dynamic insertion of content in risky HTML contexts. Instead, favor safer manipulation techniques that do not expose vulnerabilities, ensuring user interface modifications do not inadvertently empower malicious actors. In this slide, we are discussing advanced XSS exploitation scenarios. Here, attackers take a more sophisticated approach by intercepting user data and session cookies and modifying the DOM to execute code within a user's context. This can lead to significant breaches, as it allows attackers to manipulate session information and extract data directly from an unsuspecting user's browser. To identify such vulnerabilities, we can utilize tools like Burp Suite, which is highly effective in detecting potential XSS threats in a web application. An example command for Burp Suite is Burp Suite Scan DOM, which focuses on scanning the document object model for vulnerabilities. In this slide, we focus on encoding and escaping techniques, which are essential for protecting web applications from XSS attacks. HTML encoding involves converting special characters, such as the less than and greater than signs, into their respective HTML entities to ensure that they are not interpreted as code by the browser. In JavaScript, encoding requires the use of functions like encode component to safely handle URLs and prevent malicious code execution. Additionally, when dealing with CSS and URL contexts, it's important to apply specific encoding methods tailored for these environments to effectively mitigate XSS risks. By incorporating these techniques, we can significantly enhance the security of web applications against potential exploits. Now, let's focus on using Content Security Policy, or CSP, as an additional measure to protect against cross-site scripting attacks. CSP plays a fundamental role by limiting the sources from which scripts can be executed on your website. This functions as an extra layer of security beyond basic encoding and escaping techniques. For implementation, you would define CSP headers in your server's configuration. By specifying allowed sources for scripts, styles, images, and other resources, CSP helps prevent unauthorized code from executing, further safeguarding your application. Now let's examine some practical steps you can take to prevent cross-site scripting, XSS attacks. First, Input validation is of great importance. By strictly filtering inputs and utilizing whitelists, you can significantly reduce the risk of malicious data being processed by your application. Employing whitelists ensures that only expected and safe data types are accepted, strengthening your application's security. Next, focus on output encoding. Properly encoding all dynamic data is essential in safeguarding against XSS. By ensuring that data is output as intended and not executed as code, you further protect users from potential exploitation. Lastly, consider JavaScript security. Implementing safe DOM manipulation practices is key. This means ensuring that any dynamic content added to the DOM doesn't introduce vulnerabilities, particularly from user-generated data. These practices, when combined, form a robust strategy against XSS attacks, making your web applications more secure and reliable for users. On this slide, we focus on some real-world tools and best practices that can significantly enhance our security posture against vulnerabilities. One effective tool is the OWASP Z-Attack proxy, commonly referred to as ZAP, which is widely used for vulnerability assessments. It's a comprehensive tool that helps in identifying potential security issues in your web applications. Beyond tools, best practices play an essential role. Regular audits and security testing should be a part of your development lifecycle. These practices ensure that any new vulnerabilities are caught early and addressed promptly. Furthermore, implementing both static and dynamic application security testing, SAST and DAST, is recommended. While SAST examines your source code for vulnerabilities, DAST tests the running application. Using both methods provides a more thorough security evaluation, helping to safeguard your applications against threats like XSS. In conclusion, it's essential to highlight that cross-site scripting, or XSS, continues to pose a significant risk primarily because of poor input and output handling. To defend against such threats, a layered approach is recommended, which includes thorough validation, proper encoding, and robust security policies. We also advise implementing continuous monitoring and conducting regular code reviews to ensure secure development practices. This holistic strategy reinforces your security posture and helps in mitigating potential vulnerabilities. In this section, we focus on providing you with further resources and tools to help mitigate the threat of XSS. The OWASP XSS Prevention Cheat Sheet is an excellent starting point, offering detailed guidance on best practices for preventing cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. Additionally, tools like Probly and Burp Suite are indispensable for proactive scanning and enhancing your security measures. These tools aid in identifying potential vulnerabilities, allowing you to address them before they become issues. For comprehensive learning and in-depth understanding, OWASP provides extensive documentation online. These resources are incredibly useful for keeping up to date with the latest in security practices and expanding your knowledge with detailed insights into the prevention of XSS.